but the stakes are just so high. You don't want to be going into week 3 without a win underneath the belt, underneath your belt even. And also, if you somehow go into week 3 2-0, we've seen it from other regions, a 3-0 could be enough to already secure your place at playoffs, and the rest is just about seeding, about positions. So both of these teams have a very good chance today to kick their season off on a very good note. But here's the question though, Magnum, we felt like he was doing enough. We felt he was comfortable. But Billy, just how much does Serial have to do? Does he have to come out, you know, with a crazy performance like Sivov did in order to convince us a little bit of Liquid potentially succeeding?
I think so, and I think it's really important when we start to consider the maps. I think that there's a high chance that we might see Ascent come into this just in terms of comfortability, right? I'm expecting them to be able to play a double Sentinel on that Ascent, which, as we saw the other day, is looking good for teams that are deciding to pick up the Deadlock. So I think in terms of Serial being able to perform, if they get to Ascent, I want to see him shine on that map.
I just think we need some more firepower around the Cats duo, the Nats Kiko. Like, I think those two have been by and far the best players on the team that I've seen so far, and I think the other three just need to kind of elevate together.
They need to shoot back.
Yes.
Shoot back a bit harder. Now, BBL have absolutely zero issues when it comes to shooting. They were shooting everyone at kickoff, and they carry on. They continue to shoot even more here. And as we take a look at the map, Vetos, this is where we spoke about, you know, whether we won't get the Pearl, and I think you said no split, right?
No
there we
split,
go.
yeah.
Everything is kind of going how we're expecting so far.
Yeah, I think that is what we kind of expected. Team Liquid deciding to pick onto Fracture. Again, no surprises there. This is a map that both of the teams floated at the end of their map pool in their matches last week, so that's no surprise.
Yeah, but BBL picking into Haven is a little bit of a surprise. I know Team Liquid didn't look so hot last time, but Haven was one of the staple maps this year so far for Team Liquid.
Bold move, yeah.
That is bold.
It's definitely a bold move, which is why I think, you know, that I think back to that game against Giant X. It wasn't super bad. It got a little bit throw towards the end, but yeah, I just think that looking at Haven, they've obviously got something super prepared for them to come into that and be able to pick that map.
You heard it from Lohan. Sometimes you just don't have enough time to prepare, and sometimes when you feel very prepared, that's when your whole team can shine. And this looks to me like BBL are very prepared, and perhaps Minnie, they've seen something from Liquid where they could abuse and take advantage of.
Yeah, I think that Haven was slightly exposed last week from what I remember, and I think that BBL are playing into that. Like, I think this whole kind of way we set this up is that Team Liquid have information and tendencies out there, and BBL is the kind of team that have the coaching staff to abuse that.
And I want to see Liquid maybe not make the mistakes of perhaps letting things get to them. You heard it from Lohan, you know, what happened on Haven last week carried on into the third map. You don't want to see that happening here. You especially don't want to see things happening when they're under pressure. So I want to see, you know, maybe Nats rally his team back a little bit if things get tough. But let's take a look at the agent select. And we wow, okay, what do you make of this? What do you guys make of this? The Yoru is gone. Right? Were they playing Yoru before?
Liquid?
Yeah,
was I trolling? Yeah.
They were playing... I'm trolling now at this point.
We're all trolling.
Isn't this Vice? Like, Vice is new?
They had a Gecko at one point, and then they moved Camel onto the Raze on Fracture.
It was the Raze.
Yeah, it was the Raze that they were playing. So yeah, I think it's interesting that they've decided to go to the Neon, and interesting that we're seeing a lot more teams actually pick up the Neon after kickoff back into Stage 1. People are realizing that Neon is still a worthy pick here, but it's actually Serial going on to the Tejo again. I have to call him out for that because he didn't look super comfortable on it last week. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see how he gets on with that.
Yeah, also Nats on Vice. I can't remember the last time
he played it once.
Played it once.
Was
I don't
kind of
think
meh.
he's not really been kind of he's not one of the people that I thought about with the Vice too much. So I'll be very interested. Like, he's a smart enough player to make this work, of course. But.
And if you talk about doing homework and having tendencies, then BBL should know that Nats will be on that north side. He will have an op. He will have an outlaw. So I want to see how they deal with that. But for now, it's time to welcome 2 new faces to VCT EMEA. Show some love, you guys, to Hazza and Cairo.
Thank you so much, Sue. Look, Stage 1. Both of these teams know a thing or two about a roster move, so no problem adding a couple new faces to the caster desk, Cairo.
Yeah, mate, but the big thing for me though, changing the comps about on Fracture, it's a third iteration coming through from Team Liquid on this specific map, changing out the Rage, changing out the Cypher, Vise and Neon being brought, something to be excited about on this first map.
Absolutely. You look at their performance in the lower final against Heretics, then into the grand final against Team Vitality. I felt like we saw a lot more respect shown in that instance, and this time around, well, you're already down by one series in the competition. You don't have too many more to play around with.
Yeah, and well, we're talking about respect. You look at BBL, the performance last week, now coming into map 1 of Fracture. What are we going to be seeing? Team Liquid talking about what they've prepared coming into this matchup. As the barriers drop, we get underway.
Immediately again, Team Liquid, as they did on their previous pistol, showing that priority towards A lobby. It's not the instant drone out from the Teho this time around, though. Serial, this player into the squad who struggled last time out, is the first point of response towards the B site, which will be taken for free by BBL after the utility.
Yeah, and you also look at this Vise wall, it's clearly set up for the tail. You're telling it straight in. Look at this social base. It's got no way out. An easy kill trap being made by Team Liquid.
Nice early confidence builder, and that will get cut out pretty quickly by BBL. The Vice grip towards main means that a flash Kiko should be a dead one. Yampi confirms it, and with that, numbers back to BBL and the spike going down at long last.
Spike planted.
Two remaining players, Serial and Nats, have to try and get something. Arkrose still in Nats' pocket here, has it?
And you look at the split approach from both players. Loose crossfire being held, Magnum the first point of contact as they walk in. Yampi now knows. Reintroduced back to the angle, Levin dealing the damage. It's a double kill from him that will close it off. BBL winning another attack side pistol on Fracture.
Really nice pistol round overall from both teams. You can see what Team Liquid are trying to do with the Vice wall and the combination with Teho. But then on top of that, right, it's the way that BBL were fighting back in, being proactive on this attack, knowing that they were under siege, and well, getting their priorities spot on.
Exactly that.
Nice boys! Nice boys.
Vibes high in the BBL camp, as you would be, coming off the back of that previous win. And as I said before, you look at these two teams, they battled in the lower bracket to stay alive as Liquid sent themselves to Bangkok. But on their return, they're the ones now fighting to keep themselves on course for another playoff run. As mentioned by Lohan before, the ante and how that's been an issue. When you bring a new comp like this, there's always the possibility to bring something new out instead. And already Camo trying to do that. Second player stunned. Kiko! 3 of the best. He makes them pay. Prophet the last one left, and he is a dead man walking, should have been. Walks away with a triple of his own, but does not decide the round result.
Very nice Antico overall, Hazza. The fact that you're seeing Team Liquid create that trap and BBL just walk willingly into it. I mean, right now, like, the shots were so nice from Camo and Kiko. The Sheriff's just spot on, heads on a platter.
Hey, look, you can't forget this guy used to play Duelist. That was probably the last time we commentated one of his matches. And yeah, already finding his place on the smokes. I don't think that was ever something we called into question from the beginning of kickoff. He has, as a young player, been molded to that role perfectly. BBL looking towards Arcade once again. It's Sheriffs and a Stinger on Levin to try and get something going here, and already they've taken tower control.
See the things coming through and the utility that Team Liquid have to just straight away flood out. Camo first in. Yampi at least gets the trades, but needs to be careful of tower. Nats under siege here. 2 players edging themselves ever so close, but can't quite get onto this last remaining anchor on site. Kiko here as well. It's looking easy for Team Liquid on this round.
Vintage Nats, exactly what you expect from him, playing in that position so often towards this B site. Prophet does get one back. He's going to need 3 more of those as he did in the previous round. Patatek spotted. And, well, he does peak solo initially, but support arrives. Surplus to requirements. Liquid have the lead.
Yeah, I mean, what else? What more could be said about that one, to be honest, Hazza? It's just the weaponry diff, but I think the big thing overall is probably Team Liquid's like site setup and how they played that to flood back in straight away and be ready for that fight, because you can see what BBL are trying to do. They're trying to overwhelm the players playing on.
Yeah, I mean, many will remember the fracture map against KC last time around, the amount of ecos that we saw end up getting traded, BBL winning 50% of those on the whole. It's the anti-ecos really that you want to be more concerned about, and the previous round, one of them. Again, Liquid able to establish control in A main, and with the orb on Kiko, that's the orbital strike available.
Excellent from Camel. This arcade seems to be a place that BBL want to keep coming back to. That's still not identified, but they should have an idea. The utility coming through, and well, not long for this world, Nats. Still manages to escape though.
He's got a smoke dropped on his head as well for a little bit of support, and those thorns, well, it's not the next patch, they're going to last for a little longer.
Magnum getting the first, trying to play through the Cosmic Divide, find a little pocket to play within while the spike goes down, but I mean, the orbital strike being used to come straight back in. Still though, Team Liquid are the lead. It's Serial's utility, it's Serial's rifle that comes straight back through, and Liquid make it 3.
Hey, look, Lohan said in the pre-match that we were going to be seeing a different Liquid today and a different Serial. And already, you can see he's meshed very well with the setup that they've got here on the Teho, filling the gap that the Orbital Strike couldn't fit towards Tower, dealing the damage necessary through his utility, and then all funneled back into the crosshair. It was a nice opening from Camo. Not often we see him bring the op out, but getting its retrospective value and the rest of the team cleaning up.
Yeah, I think as well, like the desk was talking about it, about the question mark on Serial as well, about back on the tail, not necessarily being moved on to maybe more of a comfortable role or whatever, and we're starting to see that more comfortability coming through. Top in the leaderboard right now.
These things take time. Ready, Camo again, this time spotted by the stealth drone. Backs onto a deeper line, but retains the control. You can see Patitech playing off the shoulder towards Link, there with the stun if they need it. A is the focus for now, though, as BBL have been able to take some pretty precious material on the map.
Patitech needs to be careful here. If he gets caught off guard, this site could completely open up. He's got so much utility to support him, though, from Nats.
And he's not going to need any of it. Levin flies straight in. There is no second layer to this. BBL, this onslaught towards the site is shut down almost immediately. It just never gets going. Magnum, stray shots, finally connects. Now it's a 3v2. And with damage onto Camo, BBL have got them boxed in.
Got to be thinking of Magnum's position here as well, being in CT. You can see Nats just re-exploring, trying to find exactly where Magnum's gone, but he's in prime position to try and find a pick.
It's in a complete 1 versus 1 towards main now. Profek, it feels as if every round he's played so far has been Sheriff in hand, but now supported by the rifle of Magnum with a cam bookmark towards spawn.
They're worried in case the players have escaped on towards sand. Patitech's just trying to get a jump, but they probably would have heard the sound cue there. 20 seconds.
It's not going to be enough time to call the B rotation. BBL need to rein this one in. The A site is the target, and now Nats has arrived. Whether they know it or not, they're straight into the jaws of the beast itself. Camo collecting yet another, and will double up for his efforts before the round ends. 5 played, and Liquid far in front.
Yeah, with BBL, you can see how they're trying to poke and prod around the map, get an idea for how this Vice setup is, but Team Liquid are doing really good at being dynamic and switching up this Vice utility, even though it wasn't needed in that last round. This operator as well, doing God's work. BBL, yeah, they also had a player like late lurking through arcade that Nats was able to find. So in the back of Team Liquid's heads now, they'll know about this lurk that could potentially be coming through later in the round.
I'm out of here.
Liquid also looking to set up for A main yet again, and now they start to show a little bit more of that disrespect. Camo right at their necks, Profek shuts it down, and BBL look to go on the offensive. Canteen clear, not going to happen for Levin. Instead, he just wants to make sure that this space towards Tower is filled. That's a player spotted in the process. The top of Kiko's head revealed, and the rope under BBL's banner.
Yeah, you've got to be looking towards... Oh, straight away, they're just going to use the breach out and try and take arcade. But the post-plant setup has it's placed for B main.
In terms of the utility that's left to try and support this, the salvos aren't online right now. Going to wait for that one to come back up. Drone still available. It's the Armageddon from the defender's side that BBL have to be concerned about, as it's giving Kiko an opportunity to capitalize. 3-on-3 situation as it stands, and Kiko still going through the motions. That brings the ult up though. Sociable now with rockets in hand, an opportunity to deny the first and second time of asking.
Go ahead.
It's ticking away from Liquid. They're fighting a losing battle here, and Patitek knows it. Profek finishing off the job. Back to winning ways, BBL.
Really nice layering in the post plant as well. They know they've got so much time to get the spike down. They position it straight away for main. And on top of that, it's the fact that they're able to identify the arcade push. And then on top of that, you've got the grav well into the salvos. Then obviously Prime spot, they also get the ulti online. So it's really nice layering overall from BBL.
And you speak about that utility. Camo felt all the while entirely unsupported in his effort towards main, expecting BBL to have a little more player presence right in the choke here. As I said before, Liquid direct on previous maps of Fracture, showing disrespect against opponents. As you've highlighted, information for BBL now. The cam not quite spotting Camo, but Magnum is there in time.
Nice trade out either way, although losing Magnum loses the control, the passive control that comes through from the traps of the Cypher. You can see both teams looking towards A main here.
The proactivity in the mid-round, 1-for-1 won't suffice. Patitek needs a whole lot more from this position, and the ult would have aimed for him to help in doing so, but down to 55. All it's done is bought time for the rotation.
Yeah, well, the rotation's coming in, but it's Nats is heading on towards the flank as well. One thing to know, but Sociable gets rid of the side player. Cosmic Divide straight in. That spike can go down easy enough, but it's still a 2 versus 2 here.
Looking to get proactive outside of the post plant. The spike's still not gone down. They were searching for a kill to send it back in their favor. Steps heard Nats. That's Sociable's opportunity to claw one back. But with 30 seconds left, the wall doesn't last long enough. Kiko spots him out, and Liquid will continue to restore their advantage.
BBL just looking for something to settle the nerves, settle themselves into an advantage before getting that spike down. We've seen them do that before in the last time that they played Fracture. And on top of that, yeah, straight away, BBL coaches, they're not happy with what they're seeing.
Changes needing to be made. You remember the first map of the previous series was the heaviest defeat that BBL have received so far since picking up this core of players. And so vibes are very important, as Patty has just highlighted for us, I think. Being able to turn that around and then win the following 2 maps to get back into the series is huge. And just as much as Anti played a big factor previous time around, with the coaching staff that they have here now involved, you expect there to be reactions to what we've seen from Liquid.
Yeah, I mean, everything that Liquid have put forward so far, like they're winning out the aim duels, they're changing up their setups, they're being dynamic in the way that they're playing this defense, and BBL just can't quite get a grasp on what's going on. I think as well, like you see towards the fights, every single time, Team Liquid are able to trade out evenly, and on top of that, being proactive and using these zip lines to come at different avenues.
Top 2 players on BBL right now, both Profek and Magnum. But when you speak about a traditional Sentinel player, I don't think Magnum necessarily fits the bill in his terms of his playstyle. Likes to get a lot more aggressive. You saw him leading the line in previous rounds. Whereas for Profek, he's always trying to look for an insert, get deposited in a position. That was a lot of the game plan against KC. Set him up in Dish, for example. And so before the barriers drop, 4 players posted up in that position exactly.
I think for the time being, plan for BBL this round is just going orb hunting. Right now, Team Liquid taking control of the A main orb. You can see Nat's just looking over the arcade one. So that's probably where Team Liquid are thinking, what BBL's plan is. That's why they're trying to gain information just by holding over them.
Yeah, and just as soon as I said it was Profek that you wanted to place there, Magnum is now waiting towards Dish. So BBL can come back here later if they so choose.
Taking their time though. You can see Team Liquid just a little bit worried about the spacing and what's going on, and also trying to be proactive. You can see Nat's looking towards main. Meanwhile, Kiko catches one from arcade, but look at Profek right now. Right in towards that tower spot.
That's playing right against the smoke. Magnum now starting to fight the front lines. He's already done quite a bit of damage on towards Patitek, so just needs to be careful in terms of how he plays this. Does have the support of Camo from main, and ultimately pushing out of just Dish doesn't feel like the safest of options for BBL. So once again, we're going to see them execute late round, but it's into Nats' sight. He's already found his first.
Oh, Profik activates at the right time. I was about to say it might be a bit too late considering the time of the round, but at the end of the day, this is just turning into a death match. The BBL players looking to see what they can get. Magnum, well, he's already got his ulti, so that won't really matter. Round win for Team Liquid.
Without the spike in that situation as well, left over towards Arcade as the push was shut down. It feels really laboured right now for BBL, honestly, in terms of how they're playing. I think something that was raised multiple times as a point of concern for them was the micro. I think the macro has looked pretty decent. You're talking two IGLs who are the two veteran VCT players in the server right now. Nats on the other side. Yumpy has been credited for, you know, his qualities to lead this team, be able to frag out as well. Right now, though, it's just the players playing off of one another. We're not seeing the most effective trades. It is just hero moments that separate the two.
Got to be looking towards this A main trap again that Team Liquid are trying to bring out. Sociable, though, has already identified, or at least presence coming through from Team Liquid. And, well, somehow they found Kiko trying to go under. Should be aware of the second player, though.
That's what the stun was ready for, but it's sidestepped by Nats, and as quickly as he finds his first, Magnum can clean up. Camo running in behind right now. That main play has suddenly turned to the aggression that we were expecting from the team, but Sociable is all too aware, prepared of it, too rattled back. And so onto the shoulders of Serial it goes, and if there was any barometer of how he's performing in his second series inside this Liquid squad,
Spike planted.
we'll be coming up with the goods here.
Needs to be massive. 3 players disconnected, but won't be any more than the one that he gets. Very well played from BBL, aware of the aggression. I think it comes through. Sociable's drone in the early round just to go in and identify what was going on that side of the map.
Yeah, and it's a round which BBL win as well, where Liquid are starting to show some of their macro game, at least with a different comp, that they did in series gone by. I'm thinking of that Heretics game, that Vitality game, where they were being more proactive on the defender side, where they have proven to be stronger at times here. Towards the attack spawn side, not often seeing them go for a bridge crunch. With the stun set up already, the salvos and camo, I think this might be the call from, you know, the barrier.
Seems to be Serial, though, being identified. Only one player there already looking to give it up. You look towards the other side of the map, though, and you look at those two players playing together. Where are they going to go next after they respond to BBL's pressure on Dish?
It looks like under. So, two players there ready to stop the cross. Levin lurking again on this Yoru. Valuable the TP and just keeping him omnipresent, but there's only one place you need to be looking right now, and he's behind you!
Oh no, the timing's insane! Although, at the same time though, Magnum is close by, easy to go and retake that space that BBL just lost. But you can see they're feeling a little bit forced and moving towards the A side of the map.
It's another one of those situations where it feels like there is no second layer. The timing of the Steel Garden from Nats is absolutely picture perfect. It stopped BBL dead in their tracks. Now just looking like they're going to reset, re-clear Arcade late into the round after Liquid have been running circles around them. It's feeling like a bit of a directionless round, and to the last chance saloon they go.
30 seconds left.
Well, time being low, it's going to come down to that death match that we spoke about previous. Needs to be huge. Getting the ultimate, the Armageddon, invested by Sociable. Profik going through, almost playing like the duelist. A controller who's been so good, and Sociable as an initiator who's been excellent as well, but they've not accounted for Patitek. He doesn't go for the kill, and now it's up to his Sheriff. A 1 versus 1. Initiator versus initiator.
Had to take one more flash to try and play around with, but Sociable's already repositioned.
The spike. Looks he's going to get half, although salvos push off. The Sheriff needs to be spot on.
He's giving away his position.
He doesn't know where Sociable is. Trying to tap, bait him out, looks for it, and finds it! You can rely on experience, and that's what Patitek has brought here in this round. Advantage confirmed in the next half for Liquid.
It's a round like that you so desperately needed. Patitek now up to 12 kills already. A return to form for him, something which Liquid would have been looking for. Bottom 3 for ACS in Bangkok. but already showing those signs of improvement in these key matches where we need that step up from him.
Yeah, and you've got to be thinking the gut punch that BBL just got, being able to fight their way back into the round. And remember, that was a 2 versus 1 as well. Once the spike goes down, I'm just not thinking about the positionings of players.
BBL looking to try and take A main for themselves here. It's a couple of rifles which they've thrown into the mix. Anything to get this one started. Nats to be cleared from the corner. Up against the Cypher, so we so often see him play. It's Magnum that will fall instead. And BBL, once again, due to the perfect timing of Nats, are going to be heading elsewhere on the map, and the trap is set up.
Perfectly identified by the observers is that BBL just walked straight into it. The rifle of Patitek just not missing. You can tell he's feeling on it today, Levin. Well, he's got 3 more to try and contend with, and he won't even get one of them. Very well played by Liquid, and they're just extending this lead further and further.
And with 1 more round to play of the half, this is looking really concerning for BBL, not only because we know how strong they can be on this attack side, and you know, when there are issues executing late round, not really knowing where it is on the map that you want to execute, being denied space so many times, having Patitek here, finding yet another 3-piece, is absolutely huge. And look, you look at Liquid's comp here as well going into the second half. They're going to be able to use and abuse those quick B takes, which we've seen from them before. So you need this last round.
I think for me as well, like, it's so uncharacteristic to feel as if BBL don't have control, because the macro game is usually their strongest point. Cosmic Divide straight in, and this Dimensional Drift looking to identify where players are, and they know exactly where Patitek is.
Util to try and set this piece up. Flashed on, but not Nats. Oh no! Don't you think for a second you had access to his sight? Serial spamming back through BBL's own cage. And even with the ults invested, they can't get past this threshold.
It's the same. Problems have been happening all half. But the good thing for BBL, they always find a way to fight back into rounds. And look at Camel being all alone in towards Arcade.
Magnum to challenge him. Huge 1 versus 1. BBL need the next kill in this round. Well, you've almost written it off. Steps heard behind the Nebula. Cam is broken before he can even get a look in. BBL have committed towards this left-hand side yet again. They'll be without the tools to try and do it this time around. Last little bits of utility coming out the belt, but it's Serial who volleys off yet another shot. Prophet put to the dirt. Buried in the backside. Serial yet another. Magnum 1 versus 3, a clutch which you could not see happening. How many times have we said that so far this half? It is a dominant start from Liquid.
It truly is. BBL just not having the control that we expect on the attack, but now as Liquid start to move on to their attack, you're thinking of all the utility that they will have to push forward, and now thinking about this next half, that's where the real worry will come in for BBL.
So a lot asked of BBL to respond in this second half of their opponent's map pick. Well, The rumours about Liquid's downfall may have been greatly over-exaggerated. They've shown exactly why they weighed it to Bangkok at the start of the year, and with a couple of tweaks already, it is Serial amongst others who are leading the line for them right now.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. People were talking about, like, on the desk, kind of hinted at the fact that Liquid were the most exposed team coming out of Bangkok, most maps played, going in towards that. But right now, they're opening up another map here in Fracture.
With a different comp as well, as I said before. The third most rounds of any VCT team in the last 60 days. The only two who've played more maps than them as it stands were our finalists at Bangkok. Seems to have had less of effect on them than Liquid, perhaps, but there's other factors at play as well. In terms of this pistol round from BBL, already had Yampi having a little look towards B main. The Vice Wall's been placed there by Nats. They are just expecting aggression. Any kind of proactivity from BBL. Such a protocol-heavy team. But this defense has a setup. And it is ready for the A play when it comes in.
Passivity, just waiting for Liquid to press the button. And at the same time, while they're hearing this utility, I just want to point out, look towards the top side of the map and the proactivity that BBL are bringing through to make sure there is no Lux coming through that we usually expect from a player like Nats.
Fully set up for the retake. Nats is going to be fighting on his lonesome in just a second. Two players peeking out! 2 players in the ground! I don't know how Nats does it, but he's got the Midas touch so far in this game. So much for impact. And as the drone just confirms what we already know to be true, that Liquid are hold up here, there and everywhere. It's a crossfire that BBL walk into to try and save the dying embers of this round, if not map.
There's no utility either for BBL to use, so this is just going to have to be straight up gunfights.
Going for the full stick, and Sociable's going to defend it with his life. That has been halved already, and Liquid not in the best position to try and support this. This will be a 2 versus 4 if it comes off, and while Serial's for a little bit of time, it's the toes of Yampi that are just clipped away at as they stumble at the final moment.
They just caught your breath there for a minute, you know, you're like, surely not, it can't be. Unfortunately, like this is just a beautiful double coming through from Nats, being able to transfer over. Magnum just getting caught out as well, but it's this last little bit, this combination play. When BBL get brought down so low, every single time you just can't like completely write them off.
And now I want to see straight away, what version of Liquid do we get on the attack? A couple of times that they were playing slow, playing macro, or just being super, super direct and right at your throats. And here, well, it's a tempered take, but Arcade's where they go.
Yeah, but 4 players from BBL are here. Magnum's the only one on his own towards A. How did Team Liquid deal with a stack?
It's a clean kill onto Prophet to start things off, and Camo's just the bait on the end of the string. Reels in the kill eventually. That's not until Patatek's found his second. BBL coming back into this with just classics. You are hoping for a little bit of damage, perhaps. But I don't think it's going to happen.
Yeah, it looked like a stacked site, right? You're thinking to yourself, this is going to be good, but it ends up looking like a house of cards, or maybe for BBL a 52 pickup, because they've got a lot of rounds to get back in this one.
Look, I think right now, BBL certainly drawing out of a flat cap in terms of options, whereas Liquid are playing with house money. It's an in-zone flawless, which they pick up to convert themselves an 11th round, which means all the more for the weapons that they bring into what will be a bonus where, I have to say, it's not even necessarily that much worse than what BBL can offer us here.
Yeah, it's a bonus with fangs, right? You've got to be careful that there's no venom to it. BBL, look, you're looking towards just luring all on his own. Gets the first. Doesn't TP out just yet.
To withhold the pressure for a little bit longer.
Blinding.
BBL stronger in their setup towards that left-hand side with the cam contact as Prophet starting to walk towards Dish. They're looking to confirm that there's no presence towards Bridge. Prelu and Devon need to hold the line, and he's done it again. TP's back to Link, and now he's safe.
He's done massive work here, getting the advantage through, but still needs to be careful about Team Liquid taking extra space.
You expect a player to be in this smoke. TP's going to cut across it. Might blindside Patatek just ever so slightly. Kiko creeping up. 2 players looking the wrong way, both initiators. Patty's able to get his kill as well, and they converge on Sociable's position. Oh, it just feels so cruel. But Liquid have carved out an opening for themselves, and with the possibility of a rotation, it's pulled over Profek in the process. And so with him leaving only Magnum alone on the A site, it's a 2 versus 1.
All the hopes and dreams for this round specifically rest on Magnum. Well, he's not going to get the line of sight he was looking for. Team Liquid, dotting their I's, crossing their T's, looking to clear everything out, and somehow Magnum gets a spam kill.
Down to 4 bullets though, Patty jumping in! It's all he needs! Those 4 bullets make up 4 rounds. BBL with a lot of work left to do, and with little guns saved in this one to do it.
Talking about Fangs, Venom, it seems as if BBL might have had their next spy poisoned a little bit, although Levin's Guardian seem to be doing all the work. It's so unfortunate that Nats had the movement error on that first shot. Well, we'll need to see, can BBL start to build upon this?
Position they're in, keeping tabs of ults. Kiko only 1 away from the orbital strike as things stand. A couple for that Steel Garden on Nats as well. Liquid setting up towards Dish. They like to execute out of here on a number of rounds against previous teams. See how BBL respond to it. Nothing as of yet.
Look at the trap though that they're building up in Arcade. And Team Liquid starting to explore towards this side of the map with the spike. BBL know exactly what they want to do, and they've got Cam for contact as well.
I think if you're Liquid though, you see that deep star placed, you're expecting there to be something here. And so they invest the orbital strike just to clear the space. That's literally all it was, but it has bought BBL a little bit more for themselves here as the execute comes in.
So much utility on this site, and it's still Magnum who's come up far. Sociable should have been caught, and he's not. Gets 2, and now Kiko left with a rescue mission of a round. Players are isolated though, has it?
This is one situation. As you say, 1 player on the site, 1 arriving. Sociable kept up in the tower for now. Walking into the smoke, Kiko's gonna get caught. That's another round for BBL. And to go back to what we just saw, I mean, the fact that Liquid expected that trap play, I like the investment of the ult to try and clear the space, but it was such a big win for the defense with that one lost. And I mean, you look at what's left already, starting to build up some decent ult economy for themselves.
Yeah, it's just such a chaotic round in general. It's just about who is able to get the picks and whatnot. And right now, Team Liquid, not happy with what they've seen. Gonna go for their first time out of the match. Both have used 1 now, and are looking towards the rounds coming forward, what Liquid have in their back pocket. We're looking towards that Steel Garden. The fact that the orbital strike didn't get value in the last round. This ultimate economy will be really pivotal between these 2 teams as we are in this second half. And Liquid within touching distance of closing this map out, they'll be wanting to push as much as they can towards the middle of the field to try and win out this map.
Exactly. You've got to set up an end game for yourself as well. You can already see the preparation dating all the way back to the pistol and how it was that Nats had the setup. You know, you cook around here and there. Maybe they've got something else that they want to pull out of the strat book, the war chest, and show to us to close. I think one thing I do want to touch on very quickly as well is how important experience is in these positions, not just within that team culture and getting players like Serial up to speed. You have to have players who are dependable, something which Lohan's spoken about so much, stressing the importance of it on that first Spike Drop podcast, was that you need that mentorship as well to integrate these new players and to close out situations like this where you feel far in front for now.
Well, after the success that BBL is having, Liquid Spy starting to look a little bit ropey, right? You're starting to get to the point now where Team Liquid, if they lose 1 round, they're probably going to be on an equal for the next.
And that's what the 60 seconds are for in BBL's regard as well, because you want to make sure you keep this as clean as possible. Levin's picked up the Outlaw. We know how good he can be on that weapon. Min-maxing it a little bit. Damage control, right? Make sure you're not throwing away the kind of advantages that we saw so early in this game.
Levin under pressure. Doesn't want to stick around for any more. No TP to try and get out of. We'll have to place down a second one. And you're still seeing BBL have control towards this Dish side. And even going further and starting to go towards Arcade.
I mean, you've highlighted Serial, but he's already dead, mate. The victory was pre-written, and Nats is no better. He's fallen off a cliff. Profek, the one that pushed him. In the process, look at the ults that we're seeing coming up on BBL's side. Sociable has managed to net himself an Armageddon. Levin with the Dimensional Drift. Profek, Yampi, and Magnum all one off.
Left.
Yeah.
Pretty close to a full house.
Yeah, really nice. BBL look as if they're settling with their in-zone flawless now. And it just depends, like this next round, the most important one, because we highlighted it just before in the timeout. Now looking at it here, we're looking at BBL's ultimates, the Rolling Thunder, the Armageddon, Dimensional Drift, but Team Liquid, they have a Steel Garden.
Now Martin, put the trip, okay?
I'm interested to see where exactly that trap is going to be placed, Cairo, but I'm sure we'll find out in just a moment's time. Yeah, it seems to be a deep trip for Dish, and we've also got one to stop the cross on the B site.
I don't think that trip is going to last that much on Dish.
No.
Salvo's dealing with that.
Oh, nice shot from Levin as well, as the op has been upgraded from an outlaw.
Spike not committed anywhere.
No.
Even though it's just dropped down.
And with Serial dead before his drone, you then look at the tools that Liquid have to re-clear a lot of this space. It kind of falls to Nats and him using the Arc Rose instead. Goes headhunting himself, finds Profek in the process. It's a combination of ults from BBL. Liquid scatter to the crosshairs of Sociable. We'll find 2 kills. That is all. Kiko in a clutch position yet again. He drops out of Dish. He's a dead man. 3 kills for Sociable. BBL reducing that gap.
Yeah, and right now, like, you're probably thinking, well, that was a bit overzealous, investing 2 of your biggest ultimates in the Rolling Thunder and the Armageddon. But you've got to remember, that denied the Spike plan. It's pushed Team Liquid back to another economy buy, a low eco buy. So right now, it's looking pretty good. And even though Camo had a brilliant start to the map, we're seeing that he's having real issues breaking into sites and breaking down what BBL have on the defense.
And when it wins you a gun round, you're not caring. Still,
yes, exactly.
There is leftover here for BBL to work with. As I say, close to having a flush 5. Couple used in the prior round.
You're thinking though, Team Liquid, they have the Steel Garden on Nats. That's a way to try and equalise a site take if you get to that position.
How isolated so many of these fights had been. The slow look has not best fitted Liquid up until this point. The timing for Levin, oh, it was A-OK! He ripped the TP and that was fine. When he turns back, it's a scary sight as Serial has opened up the possibility of the B play.
And if they get the spike down, again, I need to highlight it once more, the Steel Garden. In fact, it's getting invested straight away as a way to delay BBL getting out and getting that spike down.
So hanging on to a couple more big pieces as well in post. Not just the Steel Garden, that's the last of your concerns right now. We've got to play into a retake. So often post plant set up towards Arcade. That is where BBL looking to try and go heavy. Yampi's already dropped, but you've still got Profek in position. He will finally fall, and so with Patatek kept on his feet, but try and send everyone else off it.
Got to be thinking about this Armageddon as well that's been held in pocket, but time is getting low right now for BBL.
Sociable. Making the most of the fact that they can't hear where he is, walking around the side of the wall. It's a pace safeguard thrifty for Liquid. As soon as the door opened, so did the floodgates into that B site. You didn't think there was any way they were going to lose it with the ults they had, and they didn't even need to use all of them.
Yeah, I mean, from the first pick and towards the site setup, you could tell that Liquid have a plan and what they wanted to do with their ultimates. It pushes them on towards 12, a sickening round to lose, and not only that, the fact that BBL's coaching staff are like, listen guys, we need to talk about that last one.
It's ults that come up in the middle of the round as well that make it that little bit harder to prepare for if you're not expecting to see it. So, as you say, those conversations being held in the timeout as we speak ourselves. And just that previous ult cycle in general for BBL to build a couple rounds and shake up the buy of Liquid, to then losing the follow-up on the anti-eco again, like I said, feels really, really frustrating for all the hard work that they put in up until that point.
Yeah, something I'm noticing a lot with Levin's positioning as well, that he's been left alone, like the confidence in the team to set him up on an angle and just leave him. But like the TPs out haven't been good, right? Levin doesn't have the TP set up right, or he's overzealous, overconfident to try and get that pick. We saw it on the round previous with the Outlaw. He stuck around, got a pick, and then got out. With that op, you can see even after the player's crossed, he doesn't want to TP out. He wants to stick around and try and get a pick, and the fact that he dies there is the problem.
Last couple of times we saw Liquid start out on the attack, it took about 7 or so rounds for the timeout to come through, and with its placement here, it's just before the map could be ending. As I said, direct team, usually towards this side of the map at times. The trap is perfectly placed, and Yumpy capitalizing with his aftershock already in towards spawn. Kika looking for the fight, but it's Nats that's right in front. Another vintage map from him. Another round, which has BBL so far removed as it being Levin, the last man left. And they know where he is.
An op as well to try and clutch up with. This is not the weapon you want.
Perhaps, but that only means anything if Liquid are playing off of one another. The Vice Wall now going to be triggered as he makes this rotation back through spawn. So with main the angle of approach, Patty's got the stun, you can place those thorns, and you can already see Nats on the spike. Time ticking away for Levin. Liquid looking primed to take their map.
Yeah, salvos, Armageddon, you have what you want here, Liquid. You have basically map 1 in the bag. Everything has been spot on since they played this map. From the defense to the attack, they convert BBL's pick into, their own pick, into map 1.
The Liquid we saw before Bangkok felt like a long time ago, but they've rolled back the performance here and shown us exactly why they're a team to be feared in this region. 1-0, Liquid leading.
Okay, boys, remember about the goals that I said to every one of you. That's main focus for today. Remember about our communication protocols, boys. Today, let's have the communication as we had yesterday, clear and calm. Let's listen for the first calls, let's follow each other, and everything will be fine.